Well then, the first part of the transfer window is now open, ladies and gentlemen, and Newcastle United, of course, expected to be busy. Eddie Howe has already stated many, many times that he wants to try and get his players in earlier rather than later, and we don't want to be set on our heels when there's so many good players available right now who are linked with Newcastle United and many other clubs. However, as I record this at Sunday lunchtime, it is quiet as a mouse regarding transfers with Newcastle United at the moment, but that could change in an instant, so be prepared for that. However, Paul Mitchell may have another job lined up after he leaves Newcastle at the end of June. Could he be heading to Saudi Arabia? Liverpool are now expected to step up their interest in Anthony Gordon should Luis Diaz leave the club. There is still conversations going on regarding the new stadium at Newcastle. It's all behind the scenes. And Antonio Cordero has said goodbye to the Malaga fans, but didn't get the best of receptions. Let's have a look. Hi everybody, welcome to the Toon Review. My name is Paul and this is your latest Newcastle United news. Thank you once again for tuning in. We'll start off with the Paul Mitchell story because it looks like he could well have a job lined up when he leaves Newcastle United at the end of June. Of course, it was announced last week he was leaving the club by mutual consent. However, there is a lot of different stories come out since he announced his departure, mainly with Darren Eales leaving, etc. Was it that he just didn't get on with Eddie Howe, the staff, etc.? But it seems like PIF may be trying to pull off a real wonder stroke here to stop Mitchell going to any other of the competitors in the Premier League or around Europe. It is being reported by Ben Jacobs that Mitchell is part of a three-man shortlist to take over the sporting director's role at Al Hilal, of course, in Saudi Arabia. Michael Edwards from Liverpool is another one who is on the list as well. Al Hilal want to get a new manager in as well, but they are expected to announce that before they bring in the sporting director role, and it's thought that it's going to be Inzaghi if he leaves Inter Milan. Now, was this a mutual decision for Mitchell to leave, or was it actually a tactical switch by PIF? PIF owns 75% of Al Hilal, and it's thought that they are trying to get Mitchell in at that role, which may also stop him going to a competitor. And you can understand that. Whatever you think of Paul Mitchell right now, he still has a fantastic CV. Right, whatever you think of the man, his CV at past jobs is brilliant. The players that he's brought to clubs, everything is spot on. And that's why Newcastle went after him in the first place so vigorously when Dan Ashworth left. Because of his CV, because of what he could bring to the football club. So it's clear that PIF are worried that if he goes to another competitor in the Premier League or around Europe, then that's going to be difficult because he does have that career of bringing in fantastic players. So Al Hilal now have stepped up their chase to bring in Paul Mitchell. So it may be that PIF pull off a wonderstroke to stop this happening. By all accounts, the writing was on the wall for Paul Mitchell, says Jacobs, on Tyneside, and we look to have made the right decision for the time being, backing Eddie Howe and those closer to the gaffer than Mitchell. This is from a source at Newcastle. Though this news does not provide an interesting take on whether Mitchell's departure was really as mutual as had been reported, there's no doubt we still recognise Mitchell for his immense connections and experience. As I've just mentioned there, the fact that he's remaining in the PIF system, if he does go to Al Hilal, could indicate that they were keen to avoid Mitchell going to a competitor like Dan Ashworth did. So basically, they don't want anything to resemble what happened with Dan Ashworth. They know that Dan Ashworth was a snake behind the scenes, discussing with Manchester United well before he was even on gardening leave with Newcastle United. The man is a snake. Paul Mitchell, look, I don't think we'll ever know the real reasons behind this. He has stated, of course, Darren Eales, has he got on with Eddie Howe? Stories coming out last week that the staff weren't happy with Mitchell, etc. But PIF will try and get this done as best they can. And they don't want to lose Mitchell to a competitor. That is clear. So if he goes to Al Hilal, that cancels that out completely. So don't be surprised if after the end of this month that it is announced by Al Hilal that sporting director role is now in the hands of Paul Mitchell. Now, worrying signs coming from Anfield are that Liverpool are about to step up their interest in Anthony Gordon. This has been going on for a long, long time, hasn't it? And, we're all fed up of it. Is he staying? Is he going? Anthony Gordon came out on social media last week to thank the Newcastle United fans and was rather happy about qualifying for the Champions League, and then went on to say, see you next season. Now, players tweet that and then or put it on X and then it's forgotten about if they sign for another club. We know how highly he regards Liverpool. He was a Liverpool fan as a kid. He probably still is a Liverpool fan right now. But this all depends on whether Luis Diaz moves from Liverpool. He is expected to get a big offer from Saudi in the summer. And if Liverpool are looking at it that way, that the money they get for Diaz would go to the Anthony Gordon signing. Now, it's whether the player would want to go as well, but I have a feeling that this could actually happen if Liverpool do step up the interest. And the report that I read this morning makes a very, very good point, actually. It says that Newcastle would probably favour a Gordon transfer than lose the likes of Alexander Isak or Tino Livramento. And I quite agree with that, actually. I would, if you were lining up those three players and said, which one would you rather leave Newcastle, I'd probably say Gordon. Because his form hasn't been fantastic towards the end of the season. That's nothing against Anthony Gordon. We know the reasons for that. He's a fantastic footballer. But would I want to lose Tino Livramento? Definitely not. Or Alexander Isak? You bet your bottom dollar not. So out of the three, now it is seem that PSR and FFP are mentioned all over again here, and this is the frustrating thing, because we thought we were done with this because obviously no signings in the last three windows or whatever it is would contribute to PSR being on the back burner. But Newcastle United will still want to bring in funds. And it's said that they will at least demand £80 million, possibly more, for Anthony Gordon. Now, if Liverpool do sell Diaz to Saudi, that's what I mean. They'll probably be overpaid for Luis Diaz with the Saudi signing, so they will be able to afford Anthony Gordon. Now, Gordon himself, it would all come down to him. I have a feeling if Newcastle United got offered £80 million for Anthony Gordon, they would take it. They paid, 40 for him? They're doubling the value. I have a feeling they would take that amount for Anthony Gordon. Whether we as fans like it or not, it would be a business move for Newcastle United to bring in more funds. And let's face it, we could probably bring in a couple of extra players as well on that kind of valuation. So don't be surprised if this happens, but whether it happens soon or whether it drags on into the summer, which I have a feeling it probably will, because I don't think Luis Diaz is 100% certain that he wants to leave Liverpool, but they are expected to step up their interest in Gordon. But let me know what you think. If it was between those three players, and we're talking about FFP and PSR reasons here, would it be Gordon out of them three, not Livramento and Isak? Let me know in the comments. Now, work is still going on behind the scenes. Talks are still very much going on behind the scenes regarding the new stadium. Of course, Leazes Park seems to be the destination for Newcastle United's new stadium. But Newcastle, there was expected to be an announcement sometime April, wasn't there, I believe? That didn't actually happen, because what Newcastle United are now being reported to be doing is making sure that they get the local and national government backing for the stadium before they go public. For me, I think this is a good thing that they don't announce anything to the fans yet until they've got that approval from the local and national governments that everything can go ahead with a new stadium. For me, it's pointless if they're sitting there telling Newcastle United fans what a wonderful project is going on here. They're going to have a fantastic new stadium, and then all of a sudden they go to the local government or national government and hit snag after snag after snag, and it doesn't happen. So I think Newcastle United as a club are doing this the right way, because it'll just get our hopes up. And we don't want our hopes built up for no apparent reason. We want to make sure that when Newcastle United announce this stadium, that it is going ahead. And we haven't got any worries with it. Of course, there's going to be, we've seen already, people putting petitions in to stop the build in Leazes Park. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all, to be fair. Newcastle United will go right down the proper route. A building company has already been hired by Newcastle United for talks. That was also in the report, and architects and various other people that are going to be needed and are in constant discussions with local and national government. So it's exciting, but it's going to be put on the back burner a little bit. However, it did say that Newcastle United were were trying to get an announcement out before the start of next season, so that Newcastle United fans will be in a position to know exactly what the situation is regarding the new stadium. And finally, Antonio Cordero played his final game for Malaga. Of course, he is expected to move to Newcastle United this summer, although there's nothing official from the club yet. Everybody else, including Malaga, have said that he's moving to Newcastle United on a free. Now, Newcastle United, it is reported, will send Cordero straight back out on loan. It was thought that he might go back to Malaga on loan, but the Malaga hierarchy were furious with the way this deal was done and announced. To be honest, Newcastle haven't really announced it. It's been all over the press, which I think has upset Malaga, and they don't want him back on loan now. Now, what was interesting was he did his final lap of honour with his fellow players after the game, and they all went forward to take the applause of the fans one at a time. And when Cordero went forward, it was more of a warm, muted applause than the rapturous cheers that that his fellow colleagues got. So clearly the fans aren't very happy that Cordero's leaving. But listen, this guy's he's a young teenager. He's got the world ahead of him, and quite frankly, Newcastle United have obviously seen something in him that is going to be very special. But it's too early so far to put him straight in the first team setup, unless Eddie Howe has had a change of heart on that, and we'll see what he's like in a couple of friendlies, and he's around the first team squad. I'm sure Eddie will want to have a good look at him. But there's plenty of youngsters coming in, of course, in the summer. But we're more bothered about now, while this window is open, is the big signings. There's nothing yet on Mbeumo. There's still talk of Manchester United trying to get him. I don't see how that's possible. A lot of reporters saying, and a lot of pundits as well, saying why would he go to Manchester United? There is no project at Manchester United right now. You can't even say that they're at the beginning of a project. They are in the mire right now. Complete mire. There's no appeal of going to Manchester United right now. Whereas Newcastle United, Champions League football, he will get regular first team football as well, by the way. This is Brian Mbeumo we're talking about. And he'd be adored by the fans. And he's already said that he loves playing at St James's Park. I think we have to go aggressively for Mbeumo and just get the deal done. But as I say, at the time of recording this, everything is very, very quiet on the Western Front. That may change. We've got a live show tonight to go through some more news, whatever breaks this afternoon. So it is very, very exciting. But it's that sort of thing in the back of your mind thinking we've been here before when we're expected to do something special and things just seem to be taking forever. I've already seen a lot of people putting on social media that, the fact that nothing has happened yet, there's blind panic among some Newcastle fans, and we're only a few hours into the transfer window. That's not the case with me. I'm perfectly happy to listen to Eddie Howe and see what he wants to do. He said we want the players in early. So I pretty much think that, from the time that the transfer window opened, Eddie will be rigorously working hard to bring in these players alongside Paul Mitchell. He is still there till the end of the season. Till the end of June. So he is there for the first 10 days of this transfer window. So they will have made preparations for this first 10 days. I'm in no doubt about that. So we just have to be patient, I think. Frustration would kick in if we got after the first part of the window shuts and nothing's been done at Newcastle. Maybe a bit of worry there, but let's give it a chance. Let's see what these guys do in the first 10 days. But that's it for now, guys. As usual, leave a comment below about the latest news that I brought you today. Thank you very much for watching. Please give it a like if you've enjoyed it. And, of course, please do subscribe if you are new to the channel. It is free to do so. But don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show in the future. We are live tonight if you're watching this on Sunday at 7 o'clock. Hopefully, some exciting news. But we'll keep you up to date with everything that goes on during this transfer right here. Don't forget to check the website out as well, thetoonreview.com, for all your merch as well. It's a great way to support the channel. So thank you in advance for that, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.